Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into the incredibly heavy, constantly evolving burden of the U.S. presidency. We're going to step right into the shadows of the Oval Office to track the step-by-step evolution of every single leader, from George Washington all the way to the present day. We'll be looking closely at their profound historical impacts, their tragic ends, and yes, the shocking scandals that shaped the occupants of the highest office in the land.
Now, you might be wondering, just how dangerous is the American presidency? It's a role built on these lofty democratic ideals, but as we're about to see, the office has constantly battled against looming fractures, corruptions of power, and sudden, violent tragedies. Honestly, it is a highly dangerous job, both politically and literally. Let's kick things off with Chapter 1, Forging the Presidency. Think about the sheer scale of this for a second. The rapid expansion of the young nation under its first 6 presidents was truly unprecedented. It all starts with Washington, who unanimously defines the role, setting massive traditions like the peaceful transfer of power and the 2-term limit. Then John Adams becomes the very first to actually live in the White House. From there, the power just accelerates. Jefferson famously doubles the entire size of the nation with the Louisiana Purchase. Madison navigates us through the perilous War of 1812, and then Monroe establishes the Monroe Doctrine, literally locking European powers out of the Americas. Finally, John Quincy Adams takes office, and he uniquely makes history later on by serving in Congress for 17 years just to fiercely fight against slavery.
So, that brings us to the intense, really dual legacy of Andrew Jackson. On one hand, he's celebrated as the people's president and the hero of the Battle of New Orleans. But his era is deeply overshadowed by a really dark contrast. While he expanded democracy for some, his administration was directly responsible for the forced removal of Native American populations. It's a stark reminder of the deeply conflicting impacts of presidential power. Moving right along to Chapter 2, Expansion and Looming Fractures.
31. This number is absolutely staggering. William Henry Harrison delivered the longest inaugural address in history, caught pneumonia, and died just 31 days into his term. It's the shortest presidency on record, and it sent a profound shock through the young nation, because, well, they suddenly had to figure out presidential succession completely on the fly.
And the turbulence of this era was just relentless. First, Martin Van Buren gets hit with the Panic of 1837, which was one of the worst economic crises ever. Then, John Tyler becomes the first vice president to succeed a dead president. And get this, he was so fiercely independent that all but one of his cabinet members actually resigned. Next, James K. Polk rapidly expands U.S. territory through manifest destiny in a single term, but tragedy strikes again when Zachary Taylor dies just 16 months into office. That leaves Millard Fillmore to sign the Compromise of 1850, which temporarily eased slavery tensions, but included the highly controversial Fugitive Slave Act.
And here is where we see the dark failure of leadership right before the breaking point. Franklin Pierce supported the Kansas-Nebraska Act, which only deepened the country's sectional conflict. Following him, James Buchanan completely failed to stop the southern states from seceding. Ultimately, these 2 consecutive presidencies simply could not halt the nation's disastrous slide into civil war.
Which brings us to Chapter 3, Blood, Iron, and Reconstruction. All of those looming fractures finally burst right onto the desk of Abraham Lincoln. His legacy is immense. He carried the ultimate burden, leading the Union through the brutal reality of the Civil War and issuing the Emancipation Proclamation, which began the end of slavery. He preserved a completely fractured nation, but as we know, this monumental presidency ended in the ultimate, tragic sacrifice with his shocking assassination.
Following the war, we get Ulysses S. Grant. But, even great heroes cast shadows. Grant definitely worked hard to stabilize the nation, and he fought for civil rights for freed slaves. However, his triumphant status as a Civil War hero was constantly undercut by massive, widespread corruption scandals occurring within his own administration's ranks.
Stepping back to look at the post-war Reconstruction era, it was absolute chaos. Before Grant even took office, Andrew Johnson faced fierce clashes with Congress and actually became the very first president ever to be impeached, though he did narrowly avoid removal. Finally, Rutherford B. Hayes wins a highly disputed election and ends Reconstruction by pulling federal troops out of the South. All right, Chapter 4, Monopolies, Empire, and Assassinations. It is deeply unsettling to realize the sheer danger of the job during this specific era. Just think about it. Within a 20-year span, 2 sitting presidents, James A. Garfield and William McKinley, were struck down by assassins' bullets. In between these horrific tragedies, we do see structural evolution. Chester A. Arthur pushes civil service reform, Grover Cleveland becomes the first to serve 2 non-consecutive terms, and Benjamin Harrison signs the Sherman Antitrust Act to curb monopolies. But there's no denying the era is unmistakably bookended by violence.
Out of the tragedy of McKinley's death, though, rose a totally larger-than-life figure. Theodore Roosevelt forever changed the government's role. Known as the trust buster for aggressively breaking up massive monopolies, he championed environmental conservation, created the national parks, and was the driving architect behind the Panama Canal. He just brought this massive, undeniable surge of energy to the executive branch.
Now let's head into Chapter 5, Global War and Paranoia. The early 20th century brings extreme highs and terrifying lows to the Oval Office. Woodrow Wilson guides the nation through World War I and sees the 19th Amendment finally grant women the right to vote. But then we hit Warren G. Harding's infamous Teapot Dome scandal. After Calvin Coolidge oversees the booming, roaring 20s economy, the floor completely falls out under Herbert Hoover. His inability to fix the catastrophic Great Depression effectively defined his entire presidency.
4. This is an incredible number. Franklin D. Roosevelt is the only president to ever be elected to 4 terms. Despite being paralyzed from polio, his optimism and his New Deal programs completely reshaped the economy. This unprecedented concentration of leadership was really born out of necessity, as he navigated the twin nightmares of the Great Depression and World War II. After the Second World War, the paranoia of the Cold War era heavily burdened these leaders. Truman makes the fateful, world-changing decision to drop atomic bombs. Eisenhower oversees general prosperity but has to send federal troops to enforce school integration. Then, John F. Kennedy inspires a generation, only to be tragically assassinated. That leads directly into Lyndon B. Johnson's administration, which successfully pushed landmark civil rights legislation but was deeply, agonizingly torn apart by the Vietnam War. Richard Nixon perfectly captures the ultimate historical duality of the office. On one hand, you have brilliant global diplomacy. He opens relations with China and ends U.S. involvement in Vietnam. On the other hand, all of that is completely overshadowed by a scandalous abuse of power in Watergate that forced the very first presidential resignation in American history. It's a striking lesson in just how quickly power can unravel. Which brings us to Chapter 6, the modern polarized era. Tear down this wall. This iconic quote from Ronald Reagan to the Soviets really represents the grand scale of modern presidential diplomacy. His push for economic growth and reduced regulation defined a whole era, while his projection of American power helped define the closing days of the Cold War. Our most recent history adds some incredibly complex layers to the presidency. We move from Ford's pardon of Nixon to try and heal the country, over to Carter's deep focus on human rights. Then, H.W. Bush leads the Gulf War, while Clinton oversees an economic boom but ultimately faces impeachment. W. Bush leads the nation through the immense tragedy of 9/11 and the subsequent wars, followed by Obama, the first African-American president, who passes the Affordable Care Act. Next, we see Donald Trump driving an America First agenda, facing 2 impeachments and making a historic non-consecutive return to office in 2025. Right in between, Joe Biden steers the country through COVID-19 relief and international climate pacts. When you laid it all out like this, it's clear how legislative bursts, deep political divisions, and shifting global priorities continue to add so many complex layers to the presidency today. Having witnessed the profound weight, the relentless evolution, the deep scandals, and the terrible tragedies of this office from Washington to today, I want to leave you with this final, echoing thought. Looking back at all of this, which leader do you think made the biggest impact? Thank you for joining me on this explainer. I really hope